They are just the same. Do you think that the kids in oratory don't have to know about understanding your body? That the kids in oratory don't also have to know about emotional choices, attitude choices? If not, it's one level all the way through. And so when you're saying to John Hoffmeister, who did the drama but was a national champion in oratory, John, you're not reading the word. You're doing an entire section, and it's too fast, and I'm not seeing any emotional development. As a speaker, it is your job to take the hand of the audience and lead them through the material. Because sometimes you can have a funny line and your audience doesn't know to laugh because you haven't telegraphed to them that this is what you can do. And that's what happens when you beat the word by putting in the commitment. Now look at the sheet later on.
You want to take the letters home? I think it's the next one for a second.
Yeah.
Flip ahead to just to see how you can write them in. About 3. So do the commitment in a second, but I'll let you see the letters home is the next page. So the Sylvia Plath character, which is talking and reading here, the lines on here would show how a student can take, if they are reading, Sylvia Plath is writing in her journal, she's going to write. The commitment there, just in terms of a nonverbal before she even starts, is friendly, contemplating an idea, a little bit of an emotion. Then she says the line, November 13, 1949. Now she's writing, she's confident, she's happy. They're not always just one word like happy. It's what she's thinking and feeling as she's going. And this is happening. The choice is being made, which is the commitment. Those are the words that say what they are. But you need to show us how she got there non-verbally, which will start in the pause before it. Most kids only do interp on the word. Most orators only deliver on the word.
And you know what will happen, folks? If you will say, if the light bulb goes on, and you say, Joe, Pam, I get it, and you have your kids work on that, they'll be better, and the other people won't know why. They'll be better. Oh, that kid got better. Well, there's a reason why he or she got better, because you inserted something that is actually real and believable. Because if you watch people, I believe you, this is what people do. If I'm angry, if you say something and I'm irritated, I give you something before that, don't I? You see a posting and you are elated, something happens before you actually speak. There is a what? A commitment that I put in. And now I can give the particular line like that's great. But first of all, I have a non-verbal response. If I'd say something in oratory about haven't you been there before? Did you see what I just did? Watch. Did you see that right there? That is a commitment where I'm gonna take you with me. And where did I place it? Right before the word. Orator. If the extent kids would ever do this, good God, they'd win every round that they ever went to, and don't even talk about the debate. Right? They don't have time. Okay.
Yeah. So these are the 2 nonverbals that we want to say, and there's also I don't think we're going to get to see the sample, so I want to show you the activities that you can do to bring that out in them. So this is a written sample for your students in terms of letters home, showing them how they can go and map out the commitments given the lines. But then as an activity, we do what's called cluers and doers, and where you can work in partner pairs, and kids can just learn to show emotions with their face, all nonverbal. And so you would give them, like what we would normally do here is, we would say puzzled, and then, the cluer would say puzzled, and the doer has to show puzzled. And if they don't do it, the cluer is going to wait until they see puzzled, and then they might snap their fingers or clap or drop a penny in a bucket or whatever you want to use for a signal, and then they've got it. So kids start to show that they can show emotions non-verbally on cue. So it's a drill. They'll have a blast doing it, and especially when you have a couple funny ones, like it starts with puzzled and it ends with sexy.
Sexy is there for a reason.
You know, they like something a little fun like that. And then we included for you drama commitment and humor commitment lists, just so you have them. And what you would want to do is a student could literally make a range of emotions non-verbally for the piece they're doing and just drill it non-verbally without the words to learn how to beat the word, and then they're going to carry it on into it. As I said again, most mistakes are that you only do it on the word, not before the word. So this will help to get them to non-verbally telegraph it. That's the word we use, beat it, telegraph it. So that's how the drill can actually work.
Okay, can you get ready? I want to see if we can play Joe.
I don't think we can because it's
That's okay, I want to play it anyway. Okay, now listen to this. The cluers and doers, folks, you've got to do it too. The kids will go crazy. Your kids will go crazy. So right now, watch me. We're not going to get out of there. Watch me. You're going to be the cluer, and I'm going to be the doer. This is what you would do with your kids. This is a fun exercise, but there's also a reason behind it. You ready? Give me the first word. Now, I'm finding a focal point. Give me the first word. Now, do you notice that my entire body has to do it? Not just my face. If you are the cluer, you're talking. Joe, legs, legs, legs. I have to include my legs. As soon as you see it, you snap. You understand? If they don't get it, you don't snap. And then you know what they will do? And what's your point? No, you didn't, because why? I didn't see it. You'll have people who, or I don't believe it. I don't know what you were doing. And or the people who would give me the word again. Joe, I didn't see it. I was being subtle. No, you're being bad. It's bad. It's bad in church. I need to be able to see it. And coaches, let your new kids get goofy with it. So if they're doing happy, and you have a new kid and they're really over the top, let them do that. If they're sad and they're really sad, let them do that. As time goes on, you will shrink it down to, I want things to be now a little bit more believable. Okay, give me another one. What's another word?
embarrassed.
Embarrassed. Third.
Bad.
Next one. Now, do you see my shoulders move here? So when you're giving these, all of me is working, not just my face. You're trying to establish, folks, an emotional repertoire that your kids can have so that when they find out what they're after, the commitment in their piece, it's not so foreign and so new to them. Because eventually, here's what you want to do. You want to say, we have a little make-believe list here that we're working with. Now let's go to the real stuff. Now let's go to what's really in your piece, and you don't even have to put lines with it. Let's just go through, and even if you've done the chart, I see your, now, let's go. We're going to play cluers and doers. Bam. And once they can start showing you that, now plug that into that line. Plug it into the line. No, you didn't beat the word. What does that mean? I didn't see it first. You put it on the word. You stuck it inside. I need to see that baby right there in front. Joe, you've got a comma there. A comma means what? What's a comma mean?
Pause.
You've got to stick something in a pause. When I've got a pause, I need to do something in that pause. I need a nonverbal. I either have to telegraph the next line coming up, or I have to respond to what I've already said. I don't run them all together. You say, wow, that sounds like a lot of work. Well, welcome to interpret. Right? This is something that, and the kids love to do this. Remember, this is a cumulative process, and that being teachers, we have found this is a smart way to work with kids, because then you know what they can do. They really, once you work with them, you can give them a new kid, and when you've heard of peer coaching, what a disaster that can be. It can also be something wonderful. when this kid who knows the drill, they know how to play cluers and doers. They know what you're talking about when you're saying the chart, working with the chart. They can take that kid in a room and they can, with intelligence, teach the kid what each of those things mean. Now you're doing something smart and you've got assistant coaches that are with you. They're teaching, this other kid is learning something, and pretty soon you've got a system developed where this really makes sense. Okay?
And they totally have fun doing it. So this is fun. This is fun. For those of you that have class, you can do it during class. You can have peer coaching. We have our category reps that do peer coaching. So here's a little bit. I will tell you, this is the one about white people. And this is the teacher talking. The sound is, I asked our tech guy at school when they taped it at National, he said over-modulated. So we do not believe in loud histrionics, but because of the modulation, Cliff Dodge already told us there's times where it's a little too loud. So we may not, it's about 4 minutes or so.
Yeah, and listen, we're okay. We fly out of here today. I'm not leaving until we have talked about what we really want you to know. You guys deserve that. And so this is something we could stop right now, but I want you to see this because we've shown you a humor, right? I want to show you a drama. You're going to see some of the same things, but the tone overall is different. Okay, Pam.
Yeah, and that's why we did it with the characters for the first one, because that's a little bit more on the external, and this is more internal, although there's a moment in here where he does do another character, and I think you'll see the body shifts and the voice shift in that.
So this is the
I
model.
hope it works.
Now, we're picking it up about halfway.
Yeah, halfway. We did the end just because it's got a good visualization section and good storytelling, so it's totally different from Joe.
And these are my archetypes for this girl. This brilliant
Dustin?
black girl. And I'm telling you this because of what happened a few months back. My pregnant wife, Sarah, and I, we were out walking through the park here when they came up from behind and stood in front of us. Right there. 3 African. 3 black boys. 16, 17, I couldn't tell, but they wore those same baggy pants as Felicia. And one of them had a gold tooth. And they were rocking on the balls of their feet. When one of them turned to me and said, "Hey man, back there, what was that about?" I'm sorry, sir, I don't know what you're talking about. Hey man, don't be dissing me. I know you got my wallet. I don't have your wallet, sir. There must be some kind of a misunderstanding. Maybe somebody else in the hey man, I said don't be dissing me. I know you got my wallet. Right there in that pocket. And the second kid started poking me in the chest, and the third was reaching for Sarah's purse, and she started screaming, and there was punching and then laughing like it was a game, and then Sarah was on the ground, and they're kicking her, and she's trying to cover her stomach, but they're kicking her there. Do they not know what they're doing? They're my wife! And then all of a sudden, I remember hearing a voice, or somebody behind me, or somebody in the park, somebody had started yelling, "Stop it! Stop it, you filthy, dirty black! I want you all dead!" And then they were gone. And I remember getting up and looking around to see whose voice I had heard. And I realized it was mine. I want you all dead. I was fine. A few bruised ribs, nothing big. Sarah, thank God, is out of the hospital now. The baby, well, nothing's for sure. But we know it's a girl. We know that much. But we don't have a name yet. Not till we're certain. Anyway, after taking some time off to be with Sarah, I had my first class. And there were cards, flowers, and then one student even made a cake.
Did you see that commitment?
I had no idea that they even, well, it meant a great deal. Felicia stayed after, wanted to go at me about my lecture, and then every time she spoke, I would look at her and I would see them. Filthy, ignorant, black.
Commitments.
And we stood there talking. She had no clue. And the shame ran straight through me. Later, I caught up with Felicia in the hallway. Felicia, hey! Hi, good, thanks. Listen, Felicia, I was wondering if maybe this weekend, if you're not busy or anything, if maybe you'd want to go to lunch with my wife and me. I don't know, walk around, just
Listen,
talk.
great commitment.
And Felicia turned to me and said, yeah, that'd be sick.
That's set up from the beginning of the play when she talks that way.
Yeah, I told her. I think it would be. You know, I've got to tell you, I firmly believe that history illuminates the present. Peter Stuyvesant, and you can see it right there on the statue. He lost his leg in battle. It's documented as almost a miracle. Surgery at the time was filled with filth and dirt, and anyone else would have died from infection. But somehow, he survived. And they say he was able to come through his ordeal through faith. Faith in what he knew was right in the world.
What?
Faith. Wouldn't that be a beautiful name for a child?
Round of applause for John.
That's the hope ending that we're talking about. I mean, you could cut that, you could have cut that piece right at the sick and they're gonna go talk. But he had set up in the beginning that he was in the park in New York, Stuyvesant Park, and that statue was there. And then came back to that at the end in terms of using the place again and seeing that statue and telling the story about someone whose faith got them through. And then to have this child who they're so concerned will even live. But he's reconciled. I can't carry that incident with my feelings about everybody else. And that's faith, that's hope. And so when he gives that name to me, it's like, oh, you know, that's the message that you want to carry through. And I think it's beautiful in terms of saying you have to work through those prejudices. You know, in a lifetime of Trayvon Martins and all the crud out there, messages like this, and John wanted a message. He wanted a message, and that was empowering to him. To him, it was not just a story, it was a message. And that made everything different.
He had done this, he had also, the year before, done the Laramie Project. Because he was a kid, talented, he had something to say. And the line in here that still gives me goosebumps when I hear it was, and the shame ran through me. He didn't scream that line. He said it really very quietly. Where was his moment for volume when he blew the top off?
The kicking and him telling them to stop.
Yeah, the fight, when he's being attacked. That's when he goes crazy and everything is fast. When was his slowest? Well, he had numbers of those, but do you see how you keep the ball moving? And he goes from irate to, at the end, kind of reconciled with the fact, by golly, I'm going to make an attempt to make things right. And that was an objective that he had. Now, one of the final things for me, and then we're done.
Yeah, we're done, right, I'm just trying to show the two activities.
Yeah, the two activities. John Hoffmeister, Joe Paulzine, my son, anybody, they all did every single thing that you're seeing up here. So Joe, what's the trick? We don't have any tricks. Pam, we don't have any. This is what we do. And I guarantee you, you don't have to get everything perfect that's up there. If you start, it gives you a method of teaching interpretation where you can say, I think I've got something here that will work for you. And if you do that, I think you're going to like it. And next of all, I think your kids will like it. And I think what will happen, and we've seen it happen with scores of kids in the past, you know why sometimes they get good? Because they feel that they're good. They feel that I know what the heck I'm doing. Because why? I've taken it apart. You have to be smart to do it. Okay.
Which is the compliment you got yesterday about how, I think Tom said about in Kansas, you're offering the intellectual activity that kids need in schools, which is true of every place in here. But, I mean, when you look at the vocabulary building for commitments, instead of a kid saying their emotion is happy, they're happy, they're sad. There's a big difference in all the words between happy and sad that are much better commitment terms for vocabulary and being able to do literature analysis, my goodness. So this should empower them to be able to do it. The only thing that we have here in terms of examples and activities, we did the planning out commitments for you, we did the cluers and doers. The skill building record was something I came up with for peer coaching, where kids can take a record, or I can even do it as a coach listening, and it takes all the skills they're working on, the date that they're doing, and you can give yourself scores. You can do that, kids can give it for each other, coaches can give it to them, and they see their progress in certain areas. Because some kids might be, it helps them to see like they're doing great at visualizing, it keeps everything on the list for them to think about, but maybe they're getting really good at their physicalization. So that's just a chart for that. And then the last one that we had on there is this one. Don't think you can change gender with lines for NFL purposes when you read this. This is done to make it easy in class. Yeah. Or after school. So what we do is we give them this material and we tell them, like, if you're a girl, you can make the character Thomas, or make it Teresa, and if you're a boy, Thomas, just to make it easy and user-friendly. And then they can watch each other and they really get jazzed because they're seeing how Bobby plays the character with the exact same material as Sally plays the character, and it's very creative, generated.
And you know
when they all are doing the same material.
And you know what's really cool about that is if you say in the beginning, here it is, do it. And they do it, and then you teach. Then you teach. What are you after? Everything with the cluers and doers. To tell them what are your commitment choices? Are you meeting the word? And then go back and do it again. And if you videotape that, good God, that's another whole lecture on the value of videotaping, folks. And they see the after with the before, and they think, wow, I'm really a whole lot better. That's when kids get confidence, and you do too.
So our goal was to teach you the I believe you, the ultimate compliment. That's what we're hoping for your kids, that they get. Our compliment to you is, Kansas does a heck of a lot of things right.
Yeah.
I mean, there are lots of things you do right. The growth of your activity, the kids that are involved, it's astounding. So we're not positive we taught you new things that you didn't know, but we're hoping to add to your arsenal of ways that you can show what they are and have actual activities for them. And frankly, I just want to say that not only was it a privilege for us to be able to be here, but to be able to sit in on your workshops, see what you're doing, know that we share some of the same common problems, maybe look at some solutions, and just meet you. I mean, dinner last night was awesome, seeing those awards, hearing the stories that everybody has to say. You are a great state and series of districts, so we say thank you for having us here.